Tonight on WVUA 23 News, there's an urgent need for blood donations right now, while the Red Cross needs your help.
And it is cool and dry this evening across central and west Alabama. Your local forecast coming up in weather.
And our state has some of the heaviest drinkers in the nation. A counselor tells us why and what we can do to correct the problem. WVUA 23 News starts right now.
This is WVUA 23 News.
Good evening and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Tamika Alexander. Our top story tonight, the chill is in the air. Is summer gone for good? Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott is here with the answer. And Richard, I tell you, we had to grab our jackets this morning. It was quite chilly.
It was cold and windy this morning. Tamika, I got to break your heart for a second. First off, I want to just show you this in perspective. The sunset time, 6:15 tonight. We got 6:07 in 1 week. 3 weeks now, 3 weeks from now, November 6th, that is 4:54 p.m. sunset time. Yeah, cold weather's coming with that. Shorter days coming up not too long from now. Already cool out there, 57 in Haleyville, 55 in Coleman. Still 60s down to the south. Clouds are lingering for north and central Alabama. Down to the south, still in clear skies, though. We'll talk about your local forecast, and that includes some fairly decent temperatures, much more in just a few minutes.
Joran Vandersloot will be back in federal court this week in Birmingham. He's expected to plead guilty on extortion charges. Vandersloot is the main suspect in Mountain Brook graduate Natalie Holloway's disappearance in 2005. He's charged with promising Holloway's family information about her death and disappearance in exchange for money. Vandersloot was extradited to Alabama earlier this year from a prison in Peru, where he's currently serving a 28-year sentence for killing a college student there. At least 3 people from Condell were killed this morning in a wreck in Mississippi. The van carrying the passengers ran off Interstate 20 in Warren County and hit a tree. 2 people died on the scene and another died later at the hospital. 5 others were injured, 4 of them hospitalized. Mississippi Highway Patrol is investigating. Gas prices in Alabama are dropping even while oil prices are rising because of tensions in the Middle East. Some analysts expect oil prices to hit $100 a barrel due to the growing risk of regional escalation. But gas prices here in our state dropped 9 cents over the past week, averaging $3.09 a gallon. That's 32 cents lower than a month ago and 31 cents lower than a year ago. The national average is $3.55 a gallon, which is 11 cents lower than last week. It is something that is needed every day, and you can help save a life by simply rolling up your sleeve. The Red Cross says we are still experiencing a blood shortage. It often takes weeks for inventories to rebound when supplies are low. O blood type is universal and in high demand. However, all types are needed in order for patients across the country to continue receiving critical medical care. Just about anyone 18 and older can donate.
I think there are a lot of myths that go on that people say, I'm a diabetic, I can't donate blood. That's not necessarily true. Even if you're taking certain medications, that doesn't automatically bar you from being able to donate blood. So that's why I say every situation is different, and have a conversation with your doctor to see if that's something you can do and start doing it.
Those who donate blood from October 21st through November 9th get a free $10 gift card and a chance to win a $5,000 gift card. You can download the Red Cross Blood Donor app for more details. And after you donate blood, you can track it to see which hospital receives your donation. A recent report compares drinking rates in each state. WVUA 23's Avery Boyce joins us to tell us where Alabama ranks and what this means for our mental health. Avery?
Tamika, a report by the University of Wisconsin Population Health Institute says 17% of adults in Tuscaloosa drink alcohol in excess. That is 2% less than the national average. And Collegiate Recovery and Prevention Services says 2 areas impacted by excessive drinking are intense emotional changes and poor performance in daily tasks. But they say there is normally an underlying issue for why some drink too much.
For me and probably most of my students, it's normally either a like heightened emotions, or sometimes it can be on the opposite end where our emotions, I'm just like, we're trying to escape them, we're trying to not feel anything, but try to drink throughout the day just so I wouldn't have to face the realities and things that were going on inside of my life. And I think that a lot of times it makes things worse.
Alcohol affects everyone differently, so counselors say it's important to know your own drink limit and when it might be hurting your emotional health. Tamika?
Thanks, Avery. This past weekend was Alabama's homecoming, and the Tide played host to the Arkansas Razorbacks. This week, we are back at home to welcome Tennessee. WVUA 23 Sports Director Gary Harris is in our newsroom with more on this heated rivalry. Hey, Gary.
Hey, Tamika, and thank you. You're right. It's Tennessee week for the Crimson Tide, and Bama will be looking for a little payback from last season when the Vols kicked a field goal as time expired to knock off the Crimson Tide in Knoxville 52-49. Now, Alabama opened as a 10-point favorite on Sunday against the Vols, but already down to 8.5, and there are still questions for this Alabama team heading into the third Saturday in October. This past Saturday for homecoming, Alabama led 24-6 against Arkansas late in the third quarter and then had to hang on for dear life for a 24-21 victory over the Razorbacks.
Hopefully we can learn how to beat the other team. Not just win the game, but beat the other team, which means you got to play for 60 minutes, you got to execute, do your job, have discipline, do it one play at a time for 60 minutes in the game. Look, if we didn't have the intensity we needed in the second half, that's on me. It's my responsibility. I always get asked what the halftime message was, but obviously this one is not worth repeating, so why would we even talk about it?
Keeping the intensity and cutting down on the costly mistakes. That'll be a go for Alabama this week. Coming up later in sports, we'll have much more as the Crimson Tide gets set to take on Tennessee this Saturday. In the newsroom, Gary Harris, WVUA 23 Sports.
Thanks, Gary. It is free college application week for students here in Alabama. Beginning today, prospective college students can apply to schools in Alabama for free through Friday. This opportunity only applies to online applications. Some schools in Tennessee, Florida, and Georgia are also participating in Free App Week. For a full list of schools and their codes, visit the Alabama College Application Campaign website. The race to fill the Speaker of the House position may be coming to a close. Who's in the running and what they need to do to win. And the tensions in Israel are far from cooling down. The latest from the Gaza Strip when we come back.